We move on to the action items, presentation of outstanding invoices. Whoops, sorry. All right, Scott, jump on the financial.
Just briefly, financial update. We will have our auditor with us in 2 weeks for the presentation of the AFR. So our next meeting will be the findings from the annual audit. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. And where will that meeting be, Scott?
I believe that's it. So it's in 2 weeks.
All right, moving on to action items, presentations of outstanding invoices, Christmas pattern.
Thanks. So what I have are all the bills that have been presented in the amount of $2,259,264.77. I reviewed those, and so I hereby move that the board approve the payment of the outstanding invoices as presented.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just have a question. Ron, we have a payment here for Railco for $26,054, and then we have Skyward Accounting, which is our new software system, correct? That we're going to be using for our accounting system.
Yes, the Realco side is for the financial software, so that's our contractual price for the full year for that. And the Skyward is for the student information software. That's the new software that was implemented for this current academic year.
And Rail will be going away at some point.
Yes,
Skyward only.
We are currently running. We just, as their recommendation, we moved the student information system first,
Right.
and then we will work on the financial side.
So we're going to pick up a parallel?
Correct.
Okay. I wanted to make sure. Okay. So that should be our last large payment to Railco.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Any other discussion?
You know, just while we're on this, and I know all of you guys, I believe, have it at your packets. I was appointed to the audit committee for July through the end of October. To my knowledge, I do not know if the committee has any formal duties, but what I did do is I prepared some recommendations for all of you. These are my own personal recommendations, and they just fall into 4 major categories. There's a total of 15 recommendations in 4 categories. One is that I believe we need to make improvements to the treasurer's report, and I have given you some sample reports used by other districts. Number 2, we need to make improvements to the business office, and I know there's going to be a recommendation tonight to hire a business manager on a 100-day contract. Number 3, we need to put into place some basic checks and balances. And then the 2 that I think are the most important, obviously we need to change our auditing firm, and we need to authorize, in my opinion, an independent audit of our expenses for the past year.
All right, we have a motion, a second, roll call.
I had a little bit more I was going to say. And additional discussion. So, and the reason for this is I believe the public has questions about what has happened, and based on some of the things that I have read in the newspapers and heard, you know, I'm willing to hear the interim business manager's take on this, and so I'm willing to wait 1 or 2 meetings, but unless I hear something earth-shattering, I do plan on making a motion to approve an outside independent audit, and I hope the rest of the board will join me on that in the future.
Motion, second, roll call, sir.
Aye.
Mr. Lillo?
Nay.
Mr. Kozel?
Wow. What?
Mr. Cozel.
We're voting on outstanding invoices. Invoices.
Mrs. Glatz? Aye. Mrs. Molinari? Aye. Mr. Malloy?
Aye. All right, personnel report.
Personnel report found 3 places this evening under employment. Stephen Langert, interim business manager, effective September 14th, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. Mr. Langert comes with extensive school financial background, 12.5 years as the assistant superintendent at Consolidated High School District 230 and 13 years as director of business services at Plainfield Consolidated District 202. He has a bachelor's degree in accounting from U of I, master's degree in business administration with emphasis on finance and management information systems. Comes highly recommended. Met Mr. Langert first time about a week and a half ago, after reaching out to colleagues as we need a fresh set of eyes. And we talked about that last night, and I think he'll be a valuable addition to our business office at this time. So I would recommend Mr. Linger for employment for a 100-day contract.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion?
One quick thing, and I know what you brought this up when you spoke of this, is from what I understood, was it one or two of these schools was on the watch list previously?
I believe both were in significant financial situations similar to ours.
He was part of that.
Correct.
Okay.
Scott, I had asked earlier, but I just want to share it with everybody else. He is also familiar with the two accounting systems, software systems that we're using, and went through a similar transition process.
Correct. He's transitioned to Skyward, which is what we are going to be beginning.
And get better reports.
Correct.
Any additional discussion? Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, sir.
Mrs. Glatz.
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari. Aye. Mr. McFadden.
Aye.
Mr. Lullo.
Aye.
Mr. Kozel. Aye. Mr. Malloy.
Aye.
Under leaves, Marissa Huchek, business instructor, North and East High School, requesting an 8-week FMLA upon the conclusion of her maternity leave. Returning December 11th, Holly Wang, world language instructor, East High School, requesting a 2-week FMLA upon the conclusion of her maternity leave. Returning April 4th, Maria Carmen Guyton, family and consumer science instructor at East High School, requesting a 4-week FMLA at the conclusion of her maternity leave. Returning February 16th. Laura Ricina, world language instructor at East High School, requesting a 12-week FMLA at the conclusion of her maternity leave, returning for the 16-17 school year. I ask that you accept these leaves as presented.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion? Okay, we have a motion, a second. No discussion. Sue, roll call, please.
Mrs. Molinari. Aye. Mr. McFadden.
Aye.
Mr. Lullo.
Aye.
Mr. Kozel.
Aye.
Mrs. Glatz.
Aye.
Mr. Malloy.
Aye.
Under resignations, Angela Ziamba, parapro, East High School, resigning this position effective August 28th, and Marlo Stanky, bus driver, transportation, resigning this position effective August 17th. I ask that you accept these resignations as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Okay, motion, a second. Roll call, Sue.
Mr. McFadden.
Aye.
Mr. Lullo.
Aye.
Mr. Kozel.
Aye.
Mrs. Glatz.
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari. Aye. Mr. Malloy.
Aye.
Under retirements, Karen Baskin, bus driver, transportation, requesting to retire in the IMRF retirement system effective December 31st, and Catherine Taylor, paraprofessional, West High School, requesting to retire under the IMRF retirement system effective June 30th. I ask that you accept these retirements as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, second. Any discussion? Sue, roll call, please.
Mr. McFadden.
Aye.
Mr. Lullo.
Aye.
Mr. Kozel.
Aye.
Mrs. Glatz.
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari. Aye. Mr. Malloy.
Aye. Approval of inter-fund transfer, Ron.
Yes, if I could refer you to the memo that was in your backup material for tonight's meeting. We are recommending that the board approve the transfer of $4 million from the OBM fund to the education fund. The reason for that is the education fund, as you know, closed fiscal year 2015 with a negative balance, and state budgeting requirements require that we start the year with positive fund balances. So since there was more than a $4 million surplus in the building fund, we would ask that you recommend or approve that transfer of $4 million from OBM to education fund. This proposed fund transfer was advertised in the paper and a public hearing, or it was shared at the public hearing last night.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Glatz. Aye. Mrs. Molinari. Mr. McFadden.
Aye.
Mr. Lulo.
Aye.
Mr. Kozel.
Aye.
Mr. Malloy.
Aye. Scott?
Yep, the 2015-16 budget is ready for approval this evening. As a result of last night's meeting, we have had some questions from community members. We want to have the opportunity to answer those questions before the board approves the budget. We still have time for approval of the budget in 2 weeks at North. It needs to be submitted by the end of September to the Illinois State Board of Education. So at this point, I'm asking that we pull that from the action items. We will bring that back in 2 weeks after we have the opportunity to answer a few of those questions that may remain unanswered, but the budget would be ready for approval this evening.
Dr. Cohen, the approve appointment of the new members of the District 210 Advisory Commission.
The District 10 Advisory Committee has 5 new members. 4 of them are students, 1 from each of our high schools, and 1 new community member. You can see in the back of the material there's a description of the student activities our 4 students are involved in. And the community member is a North community member. She is an educator, and we look forward to working with that group this year as we work on items related to the transition, including our first topic, which will be looking at academic recognition, GPA, and class rank.
All right, do we have a motion to accept the appointment of the new members of the 210 Advisory Committee?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
My only comment on this is I have been advised that there is not a parent from every feeder school on the committee. Specifically, there is not somebody from Mokina, and I am happy with all the people who are on. I think they're all great people, but I would like to see somebody from each feeder district. That's my only comment.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Any additional comment? We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kozel. Mrs. Glatz. Aye. Mrs. Molinari. Mr. McFadden.
No?
Mr. Lulo.
Aye.
Mr. Malloy.
Aye. All right, informational items. Report of the Lincoln Area Special Education District 843 Governing Board, meeting held August 25th, 2015.
I attended that meeting. We touched on that briefly last meeting. In your backup material, there's the bylaws and the agreement that's going to be reviewed for first reading later on tonight. Basically, the executive board will be running the day-to-day operations. The governing board will have 4 quarterly meetings. They'll still be approving the budget, appointing the director, and evaluating that person. Again, the executive board is made up of all the superintendents and 1 other representative from the district, and they will be running basically the monthly meetings and the day-to-day operations. That pretty much concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Ron, FOIA request.
Yes, at your places this evening was a summary of the FOIA requests received since the last board meeting. The FOIA requests listed include the date they were received, the requester's name and town or business if that was the application, the request response, and the date the response was sent. So when you have a chance, if you would like to review those, and then if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us, or they can be discussed at the next board meeting as well.
Which one?
All right, legislative report, Ron.
Yes, the state remains without a budget for the current fiscal year, as I'm sure many of you know. At this point in time, it does create a little bit of complexity in the budgeting process because school districts throughout the state are not able to obtain estimates for mandated categorical revenue. So we have to use information from the previous fiscal year to try and work through that. Only other item, the deadline for the governor to act on legislation passed by the legislature during the spring session is now passed. And in the interim, since the last board meeting, there have not been any additional bills signed that impact District 210. That concludes my report.
All right, Scott, District 843 Articles of Agreement.
Yes, as Mr. Lulo stated, this evening is the first reading for the Articles of Agreement, and that's the document that will need approval. Some changes were to remove New Lenox Elementary District 122 because they had left the cooperative. Also some discussion of the flow-through, as they will not be a part of that flow-through reimbursement. And then once again, the executive board and the advisory committees are meeting four times annually. The advisory committee, the executive board, and then growing, adding an additional member from each member district. So if you have any questions or comments, we'll be happy, Mr. Lulu and myself, to answer those. But we will bring those articles of agreement at the next meeting for approval.
What was the driving motivation to restructure the governance of the board with the executive committee versus the governing board?
The driving motivation was twofold. In terms of the day-to-day operation, it was felt that the superintendents, the business managers, and the special ed and/or the special ed directors are more involved with 843 on a daily basis. We were meeting monthly. The option was to grow that group by a business manager or a special ed coordinator for each member district to have a better perspective, a better scope of services and dealing with what we were dealing with in the cooperative, and then leaving the items of the budget approval and certainly the director of the cooperative to the advisory board.
All right, Building and Grounds report, Ron.
Real quick,
Yep.
one question. There's no change in the structure of how we pay for the 843, or
Correct.
anything else? That's all the same as it has?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Ron.
Yes, our staff currently is working on maintenance requests that have been received from staff members throughout the buildings. Many of those requests relate to the start of the new academic year, and virtually all of them have been completed. We're wrapping up a couple of items right now. We're also doing a little bit of in-house landscaping work at a couple of the buildings, taking care of some issues where the ground was just in rough spots, so our staff is just cleaning it up and resodding in areas. Staff members assisted in our recent annual energy audit. The audit is a requirement of our participation in the PJM, Electronic Emergency Electric Program. Our participation in that program, where we volunteer to run our cogens if there is a demand response, basically provides an additional $95,000 in additional revenue to the district on an annual basis. The audit was very successful, and so we'll continue to move forward with that program. And then the last thing I have is our building supervisors and their staffs are starting the preventive maintenance schedule to prepare for the heating season. That concludes my report.
All right, policies, first reading, Scott.
You sent your backup materials. First reading of policies. Many of these policies are the 5-year update, which just automatically pushes forward. In terms of uniform grievance procedures, compliance managers, we're in good shape there. We've updated for the current school year. Administrative procedures, guidelines for investigating complaints and allegations. Once again, those go to superintendent, who appoints 2 complaint managers or building principal. So we are in pretty good standing for all of these updates for the first reading of policies. If there are no questions, if you have any in the next 2 weeks, certainly give me a call, but we'll be ready to look for approval in 2 weeks.
All right, foundation report, Linda.
Good evening. The foundation is ramping up our calendar campaign. However, calendars are still available for purchase in the main office at all 4 of our high schools. The Dream Raffle deadline to purchase tickets is coming up on on October 11th, but we will be at the New Lenox Jewel on Sunday, September 20th, selling tickets. I'm also very pleased to report that our faculty and staff are supporting the Lincoln Way Foundation through our Sets for Kids program. Over 1/3 of our faculty members and our staff support the foundation through Sense for Kids. And we recently sent out our grant proposal request to our faculty, and we look forward to receiving back from them requests for proposals. So we will be looking forward to funding in the fall some of their requests. In 2014, we funded $252,000 worth of requests and scholarships. On the alumni side of things, we are looking forward to 2 class reunions this weekend. The class of 1995 will celebrate their 20-year reunion. The class of 1965 will celebrate their 50-year reunion. Their celebration includes a tour of Central and a tour of the district. Alumni Association members are looking forward to greeting our Phoenix alumni at their homecoming on September 18th. Our Knight alumni at their homecoming on September 25th. That's at the homecoming games. There'll be a welcome home area. And we are especially looking forward to September 26th when we will welcome all Lincoln Way alumni to our all alumni breakfast. Thank you.
Thank you. Community Relations Report, Abby.
Thank you to the board, our marching bands, and our OTC students for representing Lincoln Way in the Frankfurt Fall Fest and Manhattan Labor Day parades. Students are really enjoying our 4 new advanced placement courses. I created a video that showcases each new course that includes student interviews about what they're learning. That video is posted on Facebook and on our new YouTube channel that I set up for district videos. As a follow-up to the curriculum report, our Lincoln Way Spring Break Travel Program was one of 10 recipients nationally of a Global Engagement Award. And this Saturday, the Lincoln Way East Marching Griffins will perform their competitive show Bliss at a community concert at 7 p.m. in East Stadium.
Superintendent's report, Scott.
If I can refer you to the pride of Lincoln Way at your places this evening. East student Joe Hertz has once again been accepted into a master class with world-renowned classical guitar virtuoso Christopher Parkening at Pepperdine University. Second year, Joe has been selected for that. I'd like to congratulate the West, North, Central, and East students that were recognized as top 10 or 15 at their respective schools. They've all been honored with a breakfast with the principal. And then to the 30 North students who volunteer to tutor in both the math and writing labs. That's a program that we've been able to develop throughout our district where students give up their own advisor to tutor students who may need additional help in reading, writing, or math. So congratulations to those students who give up their time. That concludes my report.
All right, we have no correspondence, so I need a... Go ahead.
I have some correspondence. I received some information, and I had spoken to some of you individually. The Illinois Association of School Boards has a Starting Right workshop. It is a board-building workshop for new governance team, and the new governance team can consist of 1 or more new members of the board, plus a new superintendent. And so I would like to encourage us as a board to register and sign up for this workshop. I have 3 dates that I have available through the ISAB. I will pass them on to each of you. You can let me know of your availability, and then we can come to a consensus, and I can arrange to have that if everybody's in agreement to participate for a board building workshop. Thank you.
Any other correspondence? All right, I need a motion to go into closed session to discuss the sale or lease of real estate, appointment, employment, and dismissal of employees.
Yeah, he does. He thinks he's so smart.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Koppel?
Aye.
Mrs. Glatz? Aye. Mrs. Molinari? Aye. Mr. McFadden?
Aye.
Mr. Malloy?
Aye.